Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh
Hello.
my God, it's yet another hotfix. Our laser-focused.
It was a silent edition of the laser focused thing.
Video game topic news discussion podcast. We call it
Hello.
we call it, and it's labelled the video game podcast. But I worked out the other day. We spend all our time on Pubcast talking about actual video games, and Hotfix talking about news related to the industry. So do we need to switch it out and make it so that, although then Pubcast sometimes is only like half games and the rest of it is inane rambling. So I don't know. It's getting confusing.
That's every podcast on the bloody internet is inane rambling,
Yeah, that's
especially
true.
when it comes to games.
And in fact, quite a
think
lot of Hotfix turns into inane rambling as
Yeah.
well. So we'll just leave it. As always, Hotfix and Pubcast
Oh baby.
are brought to you by the fine folks who are supporting us via Patreon, which you can do as well with the little linky up there and the little linky down there. Now, anything you can do to help us in terms of giving us something with Patreon, be it $1 or $1 million, is massively appreciated. Obviously, not everyone can afford $1 million. $1 is absolutely fine. If you think that it doesn't help, it really does, because one person giving $1, if you times that by 50, that's $50, and so on and so forth. It's simple maths, and it allows the shows to keep being made, because without the Patreon support, they would not exist, because they take up a massive chunk of my working week in terms of research and production and editing, and so on and so forth. Speaking of which, I need to update the Hotfix Patreon to actually. What I'm going to do is we're going to update the Hotfix Patreon at some point, probably next week, and I'm just going to lay out exactly what I do to prepare for Hotfix and what goes into the making of every episode, how much time it takes, what the process is, so that then if you're thinking to yourself, well, okay, Kiri, but I don't really know what it is you do, you can go to the Patreon page and it will just be like, this is what I do. If you think what I do is worth $1 to you a month, which is like, you can't even buy a Mars bar for $1 anymore.
It's simple. Is what Unit Lost, what Hotfix and what Pubcast give you a month, is it worth the same value as this can of Tesco pear cider, which is empty because I drank it the other day? This is not even worth 60p because you can buy 4 of them for like £2.
Yeah.
Is Unit Lost worth that to you a month? Would you rather drink piss water Tesco pear cider?
I would really hope that it is, because that is not the best cider in the world.
Like 10 hours of podcast. Good God.
In fact, you know what? It's over 10 hours of podcast. It's four of each a month. It's about 3 hours per week, so you're getting like 12 hours of content for like.
I couldn't do adding up, me. I couldn't add up the numbers.
$1.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, $1. I'll buy that for $1. Would you? So with these are the new people who have decided to support us since the last Hotfix. Here we go. So we have Andy Chris. Thank you for the support. He's also made a post. Let me just see what this is. Blah 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 blah. Basically, he says that he is supporting on both patrons because he's a hero. Legend. Rightlock, thank you for the support. Oh no. Oh God, here's a name with funny symbols in. Christopher, or Christopher, I think it's Christopher Scholsterstrand. Scholstenstand.
Pretty sure that's not how that's pronounced, but
Christopher Scholstand. I'm very sorry. Thank you for the support, the very generous support as well. Joshua Williams, thank you for the support. Tom Marsland, thank you for the support. Well, this is very ignorant of Mr. Kirioth to just leave, as I'm,
I've developed a cold instantly now that we started recording.
Oh, is that what you're doing? Sneezing? I wonder what you were doing.
I don't know what's happened. I've been fine all day. We started recording. I've immediately started sniffling. Anyway, carry on.
Mike Oram, thank you for the support. James Tiffin, thank you for the support. And Adam Judd, thank you for the support, which I think I know, Adam Judd, Mr. Juddy. Thank you for the support. It may be a weird coincidence and that's actually somebody else, but whatever.
He might now have the nickname Juddy for the first time in his life.
I don't think he will have. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the support. And if you do want to support the show, like Kiri said, there's links above. There's a crazy card thing you can click at some corner. I don't know where it is. It's up there somewhere. And there's links in the description below. But it is patreon.com/hotfix for Hotfix and Pubcast support. And if you want to just support Unit Lost as a whole, Patreon.com/hotfix, unit lost.
And if you support the Patreon for Hotfix, then you get a shout out at the start of the next Hotfix episode, as I'm sure you know because we do it every single week.
And you can also leave a message as well, and we may read it out.
Yeah, if you leave a comedy message, it can be aired. It can go out on the airwaves. The airwaves? What am I talking about? It's only the airwaves. Anyway, we're going to move on to our first topic, which is massive. Massive, nearly as massive as the sum of money that was paid. And it is this.
Massive.
Activision buys Candy Crush developer King for $5.9 billion.
What?
So this is from Engadget, and there's also an article on the BBC as well, which we'll have a quick look at in a minute. And I absolutely love the first line of this article. The first couple of lines. Say what you will about the quality of Activision's output, but the company makes incredibly smart business moves, like the announcement that it purchased Candy Crush Studio King Digital Entertainment for a cool $5.9 billion. For comparison's sake, Amazon paid a paltry $970 million for Twitch, while Facebook spent $2 billion on Oculus Rift and $19 billion on messaging platform WhatsApp, which is an insane amount of money. Oh, and Minecraft only set Microsoft back $2.5 billion. That's basically the story, which is, I mean, it's a big amount. It's a lot of money. It's a really big sum, but there are issues with this that we've kind of already briefly spoken about, when we heard about it during the week. And actually, the BBC article goes into detail on it. In fact, what I'll do is I'll link the BBC article into the description so you can read through it yourselves, because it's a good read. It's worth doing. I think one of the biggest problems with this is $5.9 billion sounds like a lot for the acquisition, but you could look at Candy Crush and what is the other one? I think it's like Bubble Crush or Sweetie Crush or whatever the other one is that they've made that is exactly the same but with a different name. They earn a lot of money. I think it was last quarter they posted like $541 million earned from Candy Crush Saga, which is obviously. It's a staggering amount of money.
I'm sure it's something like $3.8 million a day or $3.6 million. That's how much they make in revenue. It is a staggering amount of money, and you can kind of understand from that why it would be worth like $5.9 billion. Is if they've made like almost $500 million in the first quarter, let's say in a year they could maybe expect to earn $1 billion in like 5 years, 6 years. They've kind of earned back the price of the acquisition. This is the problem I've got with it though, and there's evidence for this all over the place. Look at Zynga. Look at the Angry Bird, Rovio. Look at those guys, and look what's happening to their companies. They've got games that were, Zynga had Farmville, right? That was Facebook gaming. So it wasn't, in a sense, mobile gaming, but it was Facebook gaming, which basically is mobile gaming. It's the same bloody quality level, ain't it? That game was insanely popular. I remember back when I used to faff about on Facebook every now and again, you'd have invites to people's farms and shit. I'm like, what is this? It was terrible. But where's that now? Where is Zynga now? Yeah. Zynga are in the shit can. They had to cut back because Zynga couldn't. Well, I know a bit of information about Zynga. Zynga didn't have. They were trying to find the next big thing because they landed on their feet with Farmville, and they were like, well, what do we do? We need to make some other game. We need to come up with another idea. And then they went into this whole thing of what they called fast following. So if they seen a game that launched and actually did well on Facebook, they would try and clone the game dead quick. Well, of course, that didn't work, did it? And it was terrible. We all remember Don Matrick from Microsoft went over to become the CEO of Zynga, and I think he's since left Zynga, and it's just a disaster show. It's like, what the hell? Then you look at Rovio. They have got Angry Birds, which is in serious decline. Yet that was at the top of the App Store for a few years. Yeah. Now you've got the current king. Well, it's not really the current king, because the current king is Clash of Clans and games of that ilk. But Candy Crush is, it's up there. It's within the top 10.
Is it number 2 or number 3? It says
it's
somewhere
pretty high up there.
I can't remember which one it is, but it's very high up, and I don't think it's been out of the top 10 for a long time. It's pretty much from launch.
Yeah, but we do know, and King have said this, that their user base is shrinking.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know what Activision think they're going to do to reinvigorate this, because Candy Crush, it's just bejeweled with candy icons.
Well, this is the thing as well. You're talking about companies trying to find the next big thing, like Zynga and Rovio and whatever. I mean, Rovio, they just produced Angry Birds and what was it, Bad Piggies, and that was it. And Angry Birds was just recycled under different franchises like Star Wars and Angry Birds in Space and God knows what else. And King have fallen into exactly the same trap where they just produce the same game over and over again, but they give it a slightly different name and a slightly different visual style.
I think King made a ton of games. They've made like 200 odd games. They've made a shitload of games. It's quite frightening, really. But only Candy Crush.
It says in the BBC article that they launched a brand new game this year.
Okay.
And what was it? Here we go. So a recent launch, Alphabeti Saga, which is basically exactly the same as Candy Crush from what I can tell, shot to #1 in both the iOS and Android game download charts when it first went on sale.
Yeah.
But the sad truth is that it no longer appears in either platform's top 100 games.
Yeah.
So they're releasing games that are just recycled from previous games. People are buying into them and then immediately ditching them. They've not got the staying power of Candy Crush at all. And when you look at it that way, that they've got one game that's in decline, they keep making other games which are nowhere near as popular or are, as popular for a matter of days and then disappear. It seems like a really stupid time to buy into them because either you could go one of two ways. You could have bought them when they were making even more money than they are now, before the game started going into decline and before the company as a whole could be seen to be actually losing its customer base. Well, that's the thing; they might not have sold. Or you wait until they are worth a lot less and then you buy them. Activision, from what I've read from various different places, but as I say, this BBC article is one of the best sources I've found for this kind of stuff. I found that you sent to me.
Cheeky bastard.
I corrected. So, this is like a weird time to buy in because they're not doing the best. They're not doing the worst. They're somewhere in the middle where the price isn't really going to reflect either. So it's almost like they're paying a bit too much. But something
well, if you look at this, it says that last year they were valued at $7 billion. King were.
Yeah.
So to buy them for $5.9 billion, that may be considered a bargain. You've actually saved like $2.1 billion.
Yeah, true.
Right? Yeah, 5, 6, whatever. You've saved a few billion. 1.1 billion. Yeah, maths. That's difficult. But I think this is like it's almost like the .com boom Wild West kind of madness. It's like they're making a lot of money right now, but where will this game be in a year's time? If King are happy to sell the entire company for 5.9 billion at a 1.1 billion devaluation to what it was apparently worth last year, what's it going to be worth next year? Another billion?
They've got to know that they obviously know that they're shedding.
If I was
customers,
King, I would sell. If I was King right now, we've creamed in mass revenue, right? We've made billions and billions, and now we've sold and we're out, and it's great. That's it. These mobile companies must know that success depends very much on, I think, luck and making something which appeals to people who are not gamers. Because another telling thing, and I'm not saying this because I think females are generally not gamers, because that's not fair. But when you look at the fact that 40 to 50% of players on King's games are female, that is a mass number of female players. And the female I want to use as an example for this is one of my sisters. She's 25 and she does not play games, has never played games on anything, has no interest in computer games, yet she plays Candy Crush on a mobile phone quite a lot. She has no interest in games. That audience, I think, is why Activision have bought King, because Activision does not have that. Activision Call of Duty, right? And then you look at all the Blizzard properties. Okay, maybe WoW's probably got a higher female player base than the other, but they're females who want to play games. They're not just random people who have no interest in games. So this is like the holy grail of sort of an audience, and I think that's what they're buying into. But if you go back to Microsoft's merger, well, Microsoft, when they bought, it's not a merger, they bought Minecraft. Why did they do that? Okay, Minecraft's a game that's always going to sell. Minecraft is a game that kids all over the world want to play. But Minecraft's also a brand, and to own that is very powerful because you suddenly own all of that, and that's a really good buyout. King, on the other hand, it's weird. It's like turning up and buying Zynga just because you want whatever game they had, which is in decline, or buying Rovio because you want Angry Birds, but it's in decline. These companies, for me, I think there's it's very difficult to think what you're going to do next. It's kind of similar to if they do not come up with they've come up with a game which is Candy Crush. It's took off. It's great. It's big. It's made shitloads of money, but now it's in decline. How do you reinvigorate that? I don't think you can, because people are bored of the game, because that format of games been going out for years and years and years and years. Look at Assassin's Creed. Look how bad the latest Assassin's Creed has done, because it's just been the same as the last couple of Assassin's Creeds, just in a different setting. People always go on about Assassin's Creed, is it 2 and Brotherhood, which had amazing stories,
Yeah.
and then suddenly 3 came out and it was like, what is this shit? And then it just went to crap. 4 came out and 4 was okay, had some interesting mechanics like the boats, but then it just went to shit again with Unity, and that game died for a lot of people at the end of, I think, was it Brotherhood? I might be getting confused, but died at the end of Assassin's Creed 2 or Brotherhood, something like that, when the story actually meant something.
Well, I think most people agree that Brotherhood had the best story, but I think a lot of people kind of stopped at Revelations, because Assassin's Creed 3 was nowhere near. I mean,
that was terrible. That was the first one I played.
Who likes
properly.
Assassin's Creed 3?
I was like, what is this?
I love Assassin's Creed, and I fucking hated it. I hardly ever played it. But see, the thing is, I've read a lot of.
So
people...
oversaturation was my point. Like, you can't just keep giving people the same thing. I mean, King have tried, haven't they? Like what you just said, alphabetti, fucking spaghetti or whatever.
Yeah.
Pie face. I don't know. I've just made that up.
Pie face saga.
Saga. Everything's got to have saga at the end. Yeah. Saga insurance. Remember? Actually, do you remember when they? Do you remember when
they went after what was it? Viking Saga or what was it called?
Banner Saga. That was
Banner
it. Yeah.
Saga. That was it.
Yeah.
I was close. It involved Vikings, didn't it? Banner
Saga. Fucking hell.
But the thing is, I've been reading a lot of stuff about this. Like, obviously, as soon as any news is announced, then I say people online because we're doing exactly the same thing. It's speculation as to the purpose of it and why they've done it. And
are you saying speculation? I think. What's their mobile presence, Activision? Like, I just reeled off their games, Call of Duty and whatever. I think the only game they've got, if you include, Activision have probably got a ton of mobile games that they've tried to release based off games that they've got.
They just don't do
very well.
But this is the thing. No. I think what people are assuming is that they're buying King because King has got a successful franchise. They've got the Saga
and the user base. Yeah,
they've got Candy Crush and they've got the user base and so on. The thing is, there's a couple of different ways that buyouts like this can work for a start. So I'm gonna assume that they did not fork over $5.9 billion in cash, because typically when you do buyouts, it's not just a cash sale. There'll be some sort of asset involved as well. So there'll be some sort of shares in the company or something. It won't just be a pure exchange of, here is literally $5.9 billion off you go, now we own you. It's very rare that that's actually how these purchases are made, because companies aren't just going to hand over that much, and a lot of companies won't sell for just cash because they can make more money down the line if they can negotiate for stocks and shares and so on and so forth. The other thing as well is that Activision and Blizzard don't really have a handle on the mobile market. They haven't got something that's really dominating in there. They've got Hearthstone, which is doing okay, but I think a lot of this purchase isn't actually anything to do with getting a massive vice grip on the mobile market, because it's a bit too fickle for that for a start. Like, Clash of Clans just came out of nowhere and demolished everything, and it stayed at the top. How are you supposed to predict that would be the one to do that? You can't really. It's still an emerging market, and it's still people are messing about with it, trying to see what works. You can either just keep cloning what you've done before, which is what King does, or you can try different things, which is which is what.
Well, you say that they kind of do, like the Supercell are the company who make Clash of Clans. They also make Beach Boom, which is Clash of Clans but on a beach.
Yeah.
They make Payday. I don't know what the hell that is, but they only make 3 games essentially. Clash of Clans everybody knows, and then Beach Boom, and then you've got to look at other companies that have got massive investment from outside investment companies and God knows what. What is it? Active War Act or some shit?
Yeah.
It's a clone, but the advertising campaign for that is insane, and that is up there in the top 5 apps that are sold, because these games, you see them advertised all the time. In between, I watch a lot of Premier League football. It will be Clash of Clans in the ads, and I'm like, to advertise the Premier League football rights is worth billions and billions and billions and billions a year, right? So to advertise in those games is amazing advertising, because you know what the audience is. It's massive viewing figures across the globe, the most watched football league on the planet, and all of this stuff. If they're in a position to pay for that, then their advertising is much more powerful than other companies, and they constantly keep coming out, like shoving it into your face. And that's kind of the thing with King as well, because you'll see Candy Crush being thrown out all over the place. I think what Activision have done is they have tried to buy into this mobile market. When I look at King and when I look at what I presume to be, what is required to run these games, it must be minimal. Like, you imagine the team required to run like even Hearthstone, right? Wow, it's going to be 10 times bigger than the team required to make Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck is Candy Crush? It's a fucking flash game, basically. There's fuck all work there, you know.
This is the thing that I think they've bought into the market.
Well, hang on. I think a lot of it's kind of pure profit. You've made this game, which hasn't took much time to make, and it just keeps making money. There's not any maintenance required in it.
Yeah,
of that product.
Which is why I think they both have and haven't bought into it for the sake of that game. So
yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
The game is there as like a self-maintaining thing. It'll just keep going. It'll keep making money. It might it will decline eventually.
It'll declining.
It'll just keep pulling in cash until the day it dies. What they have bought though is a vast amount of information, like advertising information, personal information. That's a huge commodity now. It's massive.
And the biggest thing in this sale, it is the user base by far. That's what a lot of companies buy for now. I mean, that's why Microsoft bought Minecraft. Okay, Minecraft's a good brand, but it's still the user base. It's like you look at these other acquisitions. You've got what are in this article here, the BBC one. You've got Amazon bought Twitch, right, for $1 billion. Twitch has not made Amazon $1 billion back. No, but it's a long-term investment because it's the biggest live streaming platform, and this is a massive growing industry. That's why they've done it, because now they own. I mean, look at YouTube. They try to throw out YouTube Gaming to try and take it on, and it's a complete disaster.
Yeah.
And YouTube isn't a small. Well, Google isn't a small company. They got billions to go against Amazon, but Amazon have done the smart thing and bought the already established company, and it will never. That will always be the top streaming platform unless something catastrophic happens. Look at Electronic Arts. They bought Plants vs Zombie developer PopCap for $750 million. Well, that's because Plants vs Zombies and Peggle were, in fact, PopCap make Bejeweled as well, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't sued King. But anyway, those three, those games must make a decent amount of cash. And also look at all of the Plants vs Zombies games that come out on the Xbox, which must again sell to kids. Facebook. Well, when Facebook paid, what was it, 17 billion or whatever it was, 16 billion for WhatsApp, they bought that because they want the user base.
Yeah,
that is it.
That's why when I'm looking at stuff, people are saying, "Oh, I don't know why they bought it for this game. Why they bought it for the game? Oh, the game's not going to last."
It's not just for the game.
It's not just for the game. The game's just going to keep going until the day it dies. It will keep making money. Eventually, they'll just switch it off because it won't be worth maintaining anymore. But until that time, it'll make millions of dollars a day, most likely. What they've got access to by buying this is a massively detailed inside look at the mobile gaming market for a demographic that they currently have no access to. Because when you install Candy Crush, now unless I am severely out of date with this, when my mum installed Candy Crush on her Asus tablet she got, it asks for access to everything. It wants everything. It's like, oh, what text message, what emails you've been sending, what you've been looking at on the internet. They know your purchasing habits in app.
Hang on, it knows your fucking email history. Can't know your email history.
When she installed it, it said it would like access to, and the list was like everything on the tablet, literally everything. Now I don't know whether that's changed or whether that is something.
What?
Because she asked me about it, and I was like, yeah, no, don't do that. It might not be that severe, but that when she was reading it out to me, she's like, oh, because she called me. She's just like, why is it saying it needs all of this? And I was like, it doesn't tell it to fuck off. But even if you discount that, even if we discount things like email or text message or whatever, it knows what kind of game you download. So if it has access to the Google Play Store, for instance, it'll know what you've downloaded, like what apps you download. So they will know, Activision, Blizzard, King, whatever, the big amalgamation of all of them, they will know what apps people are downloading, how much they spend on average per app. They'll know how long you are engaged with that app, how long you spend playing that app. That information is hugely. It's worth the 5.9 billion just for that information, because King and Candy Crush have got a huge number of people who play the game, and these are people who are sticking around and spending money on the game. And now Activision have just basically got all the information in the world. They've had to do none of the work collecting it. They haven't had to make a breakout game. They haven't had to fork out any maintenance. They haven't had to do any marketing at all themselves. They've just turned up and they've gone, okay, so this is like the second or third highest rated game on the App Store. It's one of the most downloaded things of all time. Let's see what the user's like. They've got all that information straight away now. Literally all of it. They can use that to produce any product they like. They can use it for any advertising they like. They can work out what games would be good to release, what wouldn't be good.
I think this is an interesting point as well.
What? I mean, that's what it's for.
Exactly. When you look at people Nothing is free in this world. Yet people will see things, be like, "Oh, that's free. I can get access to that. It's free."
Yeah.
Or it's a free app to download. I'm not going to spend any money on it. But it's not free because you're actually saying to them, "Hey, I'm a male of this age. This is my device. I have downloaded your game. I am doing this on your game." You're actually giving them information about yourself.
Yeah.
And if you agree to allow them to look at things on your phone or whatever, then you're giving them even more
I've
information.
just realised I
and
can check
information is
just
valuable.
by looking on my phone now. So if I look for Candy Crush, I can.
Well,
I can
while
say
he
when I
does that,
download
you
it.
can allow me to keep ranting about this. But information is extremely valuable because from that information, they can try and predict future patterns. And obviously, Activision, like Kiri just said, they don't have a mobile presence really. Now they've just bought into like a massive crowd that they do not have access to and have never had access to. Now they've got a shitload of information on them, so they can start making products which they know they will play. We'll be seeing new games come out of King, but really it'll be Activision powering King, I guess, saying, "Well, we want this game to be made, we want that game to be made," and it's I don't know. I mean,
So
it's a business, and I think it's a decent acquisition in that way, but purely based off Candy Crush, that game is losing money, and
yeah.
I think they've paid, I think they have paid too much for the company. And I think King are clever because they've got rid of they've sold the company because they knew it was going downhill, and it would be on them to think of the next big thing, unless the company ends up like Zynga and just bleeds money basically, which nobody wants as a business owner.
Yeah. So actually, it may be something else that my mum attempted to install on a tablet. Because looking at Candy Crush Saga, what it needs access to is it has in-app purchases, obviously. It
Yeah.
also wants access to identity, but I don't know how this breaks down exactly, but uses one or more of accounts on the device profile data. I don't know what's entailed in profile data.
I
I'm
think
assuming
that
it's
means
name and
name, age, sex, and shit like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also interesting Wi-Fi connection information, such as whether Wi-Fi is enabled and names of connected Wi-Fi devices. So if
Yeah.
that's looking
So
at
we know what
everything that's on the network, that also will give information on, how
Well, you
many
could learn a
devices are
lot from
connected
that.
and stuff. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
could
could
learn a
learn the
lot from that.
size of families and oh shit, I've just accidentally downloaded it. No, fuck off.
You could also learn what their internet provider was as well, because
Yeah.
generally a lot of internet providers use the same models of routers and stuff or
Yes.
routers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, get the router.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
it's it's partially for the game. They have paid probably too much for it from from frankly what little I know of this kind of purchase, because I'm not, funnily enough, a financial officer or anything like that. It does seem like a high price, but on the other hand, they do have a hell of a lot of information at their fingertips now, because everyone who's downloaded it, and as it says on the store itself, 100 million downloads on Android.
Yeah.
There's no award higher than that, I don't think. So for all I know, it could actually be 1 billion. I just don't know because I haven't seen anything that says more than 100 million downloads.
billion downloads.
It could be.
Hell.
Who knows? It could be anywhere. What I mean is, like, if the award stops at 100 million, it could be anything from there up to the population of planet Earth. So you just don't know. But they've got all of that information right there now,
man.
which it's crazy. That amount of information is crazy, and they can do a lot with it. And you know what? I'll tell you what. Let's go straight from that onto more Blizzard / Activision news, because
yeah, so this makes sense because obviously BlizzCon is happening like tomorrow, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's going to be a shitload of Blizzard-related news coming out, and yeah, makes sense, Mr. Kirill.
The thing I've got specifically right now, because this is another kind of money thing, is World of Warcraft won't report sub numbers anymore.
Yeah.
So World of Warcraft currently has only, in inverted commas, 5.5 million subscribers, a considerable decrease from the game's peak, but still nearly a Scotland's worth of people paying a monthly fee directly into the coffers of Activision and Blizzard. Blizzard also say this is the last time they're going to announce subscriber numbers. And what they've said about this is that this is the last quarter that we plan to provide the subscriber number, as there are other metrics that are better indicators of the overall Blizzard business performance. So,
okay, so reporting. Right. Listen, it's a clever move because I never understood why they reported users anyway, because no other MMO really does that unless they're doing really well.
No.
But saying our game is dying, which is what they sort of say every time they release one of these things, it's like, oh, now we're down to this many subs. Oh, now we're down to this many subs. It's negative, and it makes people think, WoW's dying, and then you get like waves of press and media. I mean, how we do it on Hotfix, it would be, oh, here's the WoW numbers again. The game's gone down. It's collapsed. I mean, Jesus Christ, it was at 10 million when Warlords of Draenor came out. Now it's like half that. It's disastrous. But as you say, it is still a Scotland's worth of people almost paying you money, and anybody,
Yeah.
any company on the planet would kill for a $10 a month subscription. But well, it's more than that actually. It's £10 a month, I think, now in the UK. $9.99 a month, I think it is for WoW subscription. So let's just say $15 a month or whatever the hell it is. Times 5.5 million is still actually a pretty good number.
Yeah.
But WoW's an interesting one, though, isn't it? Because it always surges every time there's an expansion. And I think what's happened, like let's reel this back. It's 10 years old. For a game to even still be relevant 10 years down the line, and I mean, I would never have ever thought that anybody would play a single game for that amount of time. Nobody would do that. Sure, you might have people who say, "Oh yeah, I've played Mario for 10 years." No, you haven't. You may have played it on and off over 10 years, but you haven't played it every day or at least multiple times a week for 10 years. And there's a lot of people who do that with World of Warcraft. But people burn out, don't they? It's like Candy Crush, isn't it? People will eventually burn out of that shit like they did out of Angry Birds and whatever, and they get bored of it. People do get bored of things. No matter if it's the greatest thing on the planet, you can't do the same thing forever. So people leave, don't they? But why do people come back to WoW when an expansion comes? Because it promises something new. So the game's different. They all flood in. I think now it's in this weird place where you've got, I want to say relatively small compared to their, past history of sub base, but it's still ridiculously massive and makes a shitload of money.
Yeah.
But you've got people who just turn up, like me and you, who buy the expansions, play them for a few weeks, and then that's it. And then we come back when the next expansion comes out. And then we come back when the next one comes out. And we're still a valuable customer because we're still paying like $60 or whatever for the expansion. And then or $30, whatever the expansions are. And then we're paying like, potentially an extra month's subscription on top of that if we stick around a bit.
Yeah.
We're still giving them money. That's still a game, a box sale and a sub sale a year. So it's still worth doing that. But yeah, that's why I think it's just it's not reporting the sub numbers is good, and it's probably about time they did that from a business perspective. From my point of view, I would still like to see them because it is interesting watching the numbers go up and down.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is as well, people again have kind of used this as WoW's really in decline now. Now that it's not going their way, they're not reporting.
That's always
sub
the
numbers.
thing, though, isn't it?
But the thing is, if you look at when they report sub numbers for the last how many years? I don't even know how many years. They've always gone down. They've always gone down. Every year they've gone down to a new record low because it's a fucking 10-year-old game. That's just how it.
It goes down, but then it spikes back up again.
Yeah,
and then it goes
down again, and they report it every time. And people have sort of said, "Oh, we've got other metrics to measure the success." Bullshit. Well, not really. Like if you go back a few years, there was no in-game purchases. There were no mounts. There were no pets. There was no WoW token. I mean, the WoW token alone, the WoW token can be bought on the auction house for gold, and that gives you a month of game time. And people were saying, "Oh, well, now there's the WoW token. Obviously, the game won't make as much." Except that's not remotely true because someone else has to buy the WoW token for real money, and the WoW token costs more.
Yeah,
this is the thing; it costs more than the monthly subscription.
I know this for a fact. The average age of a WoW player is 27.
It's people with money.
Why? Yeah, because these guys were playing WoW when they were 18, 17, 18, whatever. Like, when we first picked it up and we're like, wow, look at this. Now they're older, and times change when you get older. No longer can you sit there for 10 hours. Well, I sit here for 10 hours a day playing Overwatch. No longer can you sit here for 10 hours a day and play a game because, you've got a job, you've got other commitments. So suddenly things like the WoW token, and when people say like, or even like the character boost to level 90 or whatever they were, it no longer becomes a thing of, oh, this is terrible and it's game breaking. It's like, oh, this actually works fine for me because it works around my life, so I'll pay for that. But actually, you become worth more as a customer to Blizzard because of that. Because you're paying your monthly sub, you're also paying for these additional services because that's easier for you. And if the player base, the average age is around 27, then that it just makes sense, doesn't it? So even though the sub numbers go down,
this is the thing
what I would like to see is the actual financial report of World of Warcraft to see how much it makes.
Honestly, I think at this point, when I say sub numbers were irrelevant, they're not completely irrelevant because obviously they show the kind of general health of the game in a way. But in terms of pure money making power, I seriously doubt World of Warcraft is in any trouble whatsoever because there's all these different things. Like you say, like the average age of the player, it being at 27, most of the time these are going to be people who have got jobs, but they still play World of Warcraft. They're going to be paying their subscription, and they might treat themselves to a mount or a pet every now and again. Then you've got all the other services like changing realm, changing the sex, changing the faction, changing boosting to 90, all of that stuff. Those are all services that cost money. when people bring up the WoW token, it's like, oh, well, you can buy the WoW token for gold, therefore they're losing money. Well, no, because the person buying the WoW token is also paying for their subscription. You would not buy a WoW token to get in-game gold and then spend in-game gold on another token. That would be stupid because you'd end up having just wasted your money. So the people who are buying the WoW tokens for real money are the ones paying the subscription. The people buying the WoW tokens for in-game money, okay, they haven't paid their subscription. But guess what? That means they've now got money left for mounts and pets and services. It all works out the same. And in fact, probably now with the introduction of the WoW token, you might find that it works out a little bit better, because if you've got people on a rolling 1 month subscription, which is like $8.99, isn't it, or $9.99 now? If the WoW token is...
It's $9.99. Well, I think the way it worked is you could, if you carried on your sub from a period in the past, it's still the cheaper price.
Yeah.
But if you take it up now, like for me, because obviously mine has stopped, it would be $9.99.
Yeah. So the people who aren't paying that, and instead of buying tokens, Blizzard is still making more, because the people who bought the tokens have spent more than that monthly sub is worth.
Yeah.
On in-game gold. So saying that it's like dying and it's, oh, well, now it's not going your way, I'm sorry, but I think it is probably still going their way something fierce, because they're still going to be making money hand over fist. They might have lowest sub numbers that they've ever had, but it's still 5.5 million people for a game that's over a decade old. They've now got in-game purchases like mounts, pets, services. You can now buy in-game gold by giving them more money. I mean, there's no way that it's... WoW isn't dying. It might be losing subscribers. It's not dying. It's still making money. And as long as it keeps making money, it's going to be considered a success. And I think part of it is...
like we've said before, the things, what does it cost? What is the price of running WoW? Well, in the years ago, it would have been much higher than it is now, because computers get faster, server infrastructure becomes better, bandwidth is more increased, and the cost goes down. So everything becomes cheap. You've got a thing which becomes cheaper over time to run as you become more efficient running it as well. So your team sizes don't need to be as big. And okay, you might be losing subs and whatnot, but really, again, it kind of comes back to King. How many fucking people do you even need to run Candy Crush? How many people do you need to run WoW? Well, the numbers are getting smaller, so it becomes more profitable. It's like, why does Daybreak continue to run EverQuest? Why does it continue to run EverQuest 2? Well, Daybreak's a company that is in it to make money like every other company. You could maybe say more so than others, considering their recent portfolio of games. But why are they still running those games if those games are considered to be ghost towns by most people? Because they make money and cost nothing to run.
Yeah.
So we'll keep running them.
Yeah.
Simple.
I mean, in a way, I've been guilty of this, and I'm sure you probably have as well. But it's like when Blizzard do something wrong and when subscriber counts do drop, there's like not an attitude, but there's almost a kind of like a gleefulness. Just like, oh, they've messed it up, and yeah, they have messed up. Like the last expansion, they did screw it up quite badly. And much though it's fun to sit there and go, oh, this has had an impact, and it has had an impact, the fact is the game's still not going anywhere. Like, it's still not dead, it's still not dying, it's still not going to disappear next year, it's still going to be here in God knows how many years' time, because they've found ways to keep the subscriber base that they still have, not just paying the same amount of money that they used to, but paying more. So there might be fewer people, but those fewer people are probably spending more than they were before, which kind of may not even it out completely, but means that the game's not going to die. And I think that's kind of when a game's lasted as long as WoW has, and when it's kind of as, I don't know if outdated is the fair thing to say. I mean, in a way, it is outdated. The engine is massively outdated. The way it looks is very outdated, but it still kind of works because of how stylized it is. I'm not saying it's
no. I think the point you're getting at is it's just the game itself. Like it could have the best graphics in the world. It's just like people get bored of the same thing for 10 years. You know, as much as it changes with expansions and stuff, it's still the same bloody game. It's still the same. You know,
I think in a way people are like,
bloody MMO, isn't it?
They're like, oh, something's happening with this finally. It's like it's a constant, and it's not that exciting anymore. So when something happens to it, when it's negative, especially, it's like, oh, shit's going down. But then when you actually think about it and kind of let yourself calm down a bit from the gleefulness of something going wrong somewhere, it's like, yeah, shit kind of did go down, but also not really, because it's still here. There's still millions of people playing.
It has
every other MMO.
Yeah, but you can't sit there and say that, because Blizzard have made this. They've made changes to the game which have fucking resulted in loss in revenue. It's been bad decisions.
Yeah.
So I actually seen a really outlandish thing on, I think it was probably Reddit, it generally is for outlandish things. And some guy was like, oh, the game would be up at 10 million subs if only the PvP was like this and like that. And I thought, hang on, 10 million subs?
No.
It's like so ludicrous.
No,
It's like,
no.
do you think really what you mean is that you really love PvP? So by extension, everybody loves PvP.
Yeah.
And also by extension of that, if the game was so amazingly great at PvP, then everybody would play it. No, get real. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, we do actually, I'll tell you what, we'll fold the other two Blizzard-related things into it, because since we're talking about Blizzard. Firstly, and this is kind of cool, I quite like this, Blizzard are hiring engineers to restore StarCraft, Warcraft 3, and Diablo 2 to glory, as they put it. What that actually means is making it so that they actually work on modern computers, because funnily enough, as hardware and operating systems get better and evolve, older stuff stops working. And the job is basically making gameplay first again on modern operating systems, and owning implementation and curation of features new and old for classic games. So there may be some sort of update going along with them. I actually really like this idea, because I really, for a start, I would love to play Diablo 2 again, but I think I tried it on Windows 7 and I couldn't get it working. And from that point on, I was like, well, that's obviously not viable then, is it? And so I haven't tried since. Also, bringing back older games so people can experience them for the first time. It looks like it's not a remaster, which in a way I'm kind of glad of, because I don't really think some games don't really need a remaster.
Well, I mean, if you remastered Diablo 2, it wouldn't be Diablo 2, because the whole, the visual aesthetic of it, whatever, would be totally changed.
It's a big part of it. So
even like just it is. It's an interesting thing, because if you were to take Diablo 2 and make it, let's say, work properly at modern aspect ratios and stuff like that. So if you're running the game at 1080p, it's going to look weird. So they're going to have to do things to kind of make the art style work and make the engine scale up. I'd imagine this is an extremely complicated thing to do. I do agree that it's a good thing that they're doing this, because I would love to play. I've never played Warcraft, the first one. I've played Warcraft 2, and that's awesome. Yeah. I'd like to play that. Warcraft 3, you can kind of play, but it is a faff about. But I would like to play that if it was easy and was just in the launcher and I could click play. Because my account, I own every game Blizzard have got in my account. It's all in there. All the ones that they sell anyway. So, I would like to play them again. Especially Diablo 2 would probably be the... I mean, that co-op is such a great experience. Going through the story with that, it's just awesome.
Well, I remember years and years ago when we were in college, we had a LAN party where we managed to get everyone in Diablo 2 co-op, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was really fun. It was really enjoyable, and actually having the opportunity to get other people to play that and experience it. Because don't get me wrong, Diablo 3 is fine. I really like Diablo 3, but Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 are different games. They might be the
Diablo
same
2
genre,
is much better for going the story. Like with Diablo 2, I mean, I guess a lot of you guys will probably agree with me out there. I can sit down with Kiri, we can make new characters, and we can go through the whole game, and it's an experience. But then we could do it again, and then we could do it again. We could even do it with the same classes, because you're gonna get different stuff dropped. Diablo 3, the story in Diablo 3, nobody cares. It's shite, and nobody cares. You're just playing it to get better loot, and it's like, okay, it is a loot fest and whatever. That's what Diablo action RPGs are about. But yeah, it's very much is a story of going. Even Diablo is really good as well. I'll never forget the bit where you open the door to the meat seller thing, and the butcher's like, fresh meat, and he just runs out and instantly kills you with his cleaver, and you're like, what? Because you didn't know he was in there. And then I got when I eventually killed him with I was shooting him through a window with a bow, and I had no skill to use the bow because I was a warrior. I was like, and he eventually died because he was stuck on a door going like that. And I got his cleaver, and I was shooting, and it was dead good. It was this massive two-handed axe, the butcher's cleaver. I forgot to repair it though, and it broke. And I remember and it just disappeared. I was like, oh shit, oh shit. My best weapon was gone. Yeah, but I'd love to play through those games again. I think, and also they've got the games, haven't they? They just need to update them, and I think it's just a side project, isn't it? Get a few guys to work on it and throw it out.
They've got the resources as well. If they're in a position where they can hire someone to come and make their old games work better on modern systems, or at least work on modern systems,
and obviously they're fucking massively profitable. Blizzard are, so
just do it. And the thing is, there would be people who would buy them again. People who don't have the original discs or forgot to add them to their Battle.net account. People who never played them before and were like, oh wow, I wasn't interested in this because I didn't think I could get it working, but now it says specifically made for Windows 10 or whatever on it. I'll play it, I'll buy it. People would do it, and I like stuff like that. It's good. On to another Blizzard thing. This is the last Blizzard subject, and it is, of course, Overwatch. Now,
Oh, hello.
this one, I'm not going to bother switching over.
What's this game about then?
It's fairly... I've never heard of this before. It's fairly concise, and it's from Eurogamer. Why everyone thinks Blizzard's Overwatch is coming to console. So far, Blizzard have kind of said, well, it's going to be PC. We work on PC. That's what Overwatch is going to be on. Except it already has controller support. It's already there. It's available in the PC version. And, according to Overporn, whatever, I've forgotten how to use that word because what year is it? Who still uses PWN?
Is it 1998?
Fuck?
Mate, I pwned you.
According to Overporn, strings for authentication checks even for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One have been found in the code for Overwatch. So they did a little bit of data mining, and they found a little bit of code that obviously checks for authentication for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the way they describe this. The most damning piece of evidence comes from Blizzard's own European website for Overwatch. I don't know why this is damning. I don't know what that even means.
Yeah, damning.
Which, for a brief time last month, mentioned consoles in its source code, and it said Overwatch is Blizzard's team shooter for PC and consoles. Frankly, of all the games Blizzard make, Overwatch makes the most sense to be put on consoles. Heroes of the Storm doesn't make any sense because MOBAs on consoles. How would that even work? Hearthstone. I mean, how do you even navigate that? It's on tablets, but how are you going to get that onto a console? It'd be a right pain in the arse to control. Overwatch it's just an FPS. It's an FPS. It's got like 4 buttons. That's all it is. So why would they not do it? Why is it a bad thing anyway?
So it's not unheard of that Blizzard put games on console. I mean, look at Diablo 3, Diablo.
That's true,
I played that on PS1, and the games like that. So it's not. StarCraft, I think, was on the N64.
They bloody
or
gave
something weird.
Diablo
GameCube,
3 on the consoles. They gave the characters a roll button, which allowed them to dodge incoming attacks. That was
totally
better.
Different.
That was I liked that. On PC, you just had to move slightly to the right or the left using your mouse, which was a bit shit. Actually, being able to roll was way more fluid.
Yes, but they said rolling is too easy on the PC because you can see further. So you can see where the projectiles are coming in because the field of view was much lower on the consoles because they're a bag of shit and they're not even worthy enough to be a doorstop. Anyway, yeah, the console, like this is an interesting one because Overwatch is clearly a PC FPS arena shooter thingy. That's extremely fast and is not a console game in that sense. It's like putting Unreal Tournament on a console. It's just like, haha, there you go, guys. Thing is, though, if it's just on a console and everybody is playing with a controller, it levels the playing field so they can go away and do it. Like Kiri said, it does make sense in a way because it's just an FPS game. Console FPS, I think, is a completely different animal to PC FPS, where Overwatch is being seen as this absolutely reinvention of the arena shooter format where... Yeah, it's still like Team Fortress 2 uses a lot of principles of that. It uses a lot of game modes from that.
Consoles?
It might be actually. The Orange Box is on consoles, isn't it?
I think it is.
Portal is. And Left 4 Dead is as well, isn't it? But anyway, it makes sense in that way. But will this work with a console crowd that is predominantly Call of Duty and Battlefield focused? That's the big one. Because console gamers want to play Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty's launched, hasn't it, today or something? I don't know.
I think so.
It's a totally different animal. We know from playing Overwatch that this is a ultra fast game, and playing on PC is, you can see it's obviously designed for PC. It's not designed for console. It's designed for rapid movement, super fast target acquisition. It's ridiculous, and it's such a good game. But I mean, let's be honest. In this day and age of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which are essentially PCs anyway, it's a piece of piss to port across, so they may as well do it.
Yeah.
And Activision, there's your publisher for fucking console, and they can even say things like, maybe there'll be some sort of tie-in with Call of Duty, or be like, hey, Call of Duty players, why don't you check out Overwatch?
From the publishers of Call of Duty. Overwatch, there you go. Same company, they're not lying.
Yeah.
It'd be easy enough to do. And as you say, it would be a lot slower, but it's not like it wouldn't work. You've got...
Well, everyone's on the same playing field. And we know there's console aim bot in the game, because you could turn it on in the PC version to begin with, and people were like using the controller with aimbot on, which still wouldn't work. You still get wrecked, but that does indicate that the support's there for it, so it's obviously going to be a console release. And when they're saying things like they believe the opening ceremony of BlizzCon tomorrow will be done in partnership with Microsoft, and Microsoft will have some sort of stream showing the game run on the Xbox One, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think in terms of what we'll see at BlizzCon for Overwatch, I think we'll see the new. They announced the new hero,
Yeah,
who's some sort of
Diva.
StarCraft. Yeah,
It was
Diva.
a
D.
fake
Va.
a fake StarCraft 2 Pro gamer, isn't it? It's like it's
it's a piss take of the StarCraft Pro gamers.
Yeah.
Apparently, she drives a mech.
It's
Probably something that looks like a Thor. It'll be
confusing as hell. That was. I was looking at because I'd not heard of Diva before, so I was like, "Who?" And then there was like a drawing of, and I was thinking, "Is she? How did I miss that? What the hell was going on?" And then someone was like, "So hang on, there's a fictional StarCraft 2 Pro gamer in Overwatch. Does that mean StarCraft 2 is in Overwatch?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. What? Why?" It'll be interesting to find out anyway. The other Overwatch thing that we have, which it's such a wall of text and it's on Reddit. Again, I'll link it in the description, but I'll give you a brief overview. And then I'll explain why this is probably bollocks and how this works. And if someone wants to link it to the Overwatch subreddit so they can actually understand how these things function, feel free, because maybe that will stop the massive overflow of fucking sodium that is pouring through that subreddit at a staggering rate.
What did I say? If anyone's offended by this, I'm very sorry, but it's got more sodium output than a North Korean salt mine or something I said to you.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. So, if you are not familiar with the Overwatch subreddit...
Well, sodium chloride to be exact.
Yeah, to be scientifically accurate. As we all know, there is a closed beta for Overwatch at the moment. A number of content creators have got in, and there have also been random waves of accounts that have opted into the beta being flagged for access. Apparently, according to a significant number of people, what this means is that Blizzard lied and the closed beta is purely for marketing purposes and no one but content creators get in. So as an attempt to expose this chap, which, as I said, I'll link to in the description, I won't show it on the thing because it's just a wall of text and you don't want to read all of it right now, read it later. I'll just give you a brief overview. He set up a Twitch channel and he copied someone else's Twitch channel description and kind of did a little bit of an impersonation there and streamed for 6 hours. He also view-botted, and he says so in the post that he view-botted to get about 300 viewers for when he was streaming. He then took the footage he had gained from streaming. He set up a YouTube channel and made 2 videos where he just got 10 minutes of footage for each one and rehashed stuff from the Overwatch website. And then he, I assume, went to, what is it, Fiverr, whatever it's called. I think that's what
when you can get people to do things for a $5.
Yeah.
And $5 or whatever it is.
There's various
Draw
services.
my portrait, $5. Yeah.
But there's also various services that you shouldn't be able to get on there or anywhere, including, I believe, being able to get views on a YouTube channel. And so he used that. So his videos got like, I think he said between 5,000 and 8,000 views per video.
By the way, don't do, because your YouTube channel will get fucking banned.
It's stupid. You just get banned. It's totally pointless. And of course, it means you haven't actually earned anything anyway, because you've just spent the money on getting the fucking views. And the views aren't going to give you $5 per whatever it is, because YouTube don't give you any money anymore. So he did this. He also set up a Twitter account. So he did the streaming, he made the videos on the 2 fake things that he set up purely for the purpose. He then tweeted Blizzard and said, "Look, I am content creator, give access to beta, please." 4 days later, and with no one actually saying anything to him, from what I can read, I have not seen anything that says Blizzard actually got in touch with him, his account was flagged and he was placed into the beta. Now, there's a couple of reasons that this seems, firstly, a bit false, and secondly, fucking stupid. Firstly, he's providing absolutely no proof, because he thinks that if he provides proof, Blizzard will revoke his access to the beta. That's assuming that he even got it in the first place. The reason it's idiotic is the entire thing is painted as, this is how Blizzard works, this is infuriating. So this is someone who actively scammed his way, basically, into where he's claiming to be. So he set up a fake Twitch channel and took someone else's Twitch information, i.e. description and portrait and things, basically impersonating them, frankly, because that's what it's called when you copy someone else's Twitch channel exactly. Then he used a viewbot thing, a viewbot program, to get fake viewers, which is against Twitch's terms of service, obviously.
Which also is very easily detectable, because if you've got fake viewers, then you don't have any chat.
Yes, so it's quite clear that it's a load of bollocks. He then went to YouTube and he set up an account on there and he made 2 videos. And then he broke YouTube's terms of service by paying for views, which is fucking stupid as well, because that gets your YouTube account banned. Don't do it. And then he went to the subreddit and said, see, it's disgusting what Blizzard will do. Now, firstly, the logic of that is absolutely fucking stupid, and I don't know how you can possibly sit there and go, well, I mean, I lied repeatedly, and I broke multiple rules on multiple sites, but really it's Blizzard who are the scumbags here. Secondly, I feel like people are somehow misunderstanding how this closed beta works, or in fact, any closed beta that Blizzard or any other company have ever fucking done in their entire career of making games. Firstly, Blizzard said that it was going to be a random closed beta, that accounts would be flagged randomly. That means that there is a chance you will or will not get in. For the people who I've seen bitching about the fact that their roommate or brother got into the beta but haven't played the game, well, congratulations, that means it's random. They opted in, they got access to the game. The fact that they haven't played the game says nothing about Blizzard's method of giving out access to the beta. It means they opted in and they were flagged randomly. That's what random means. Secondly, all I see is people going, oh, well, you just need to be a content creator, you'll get access. Firstly, that's a load of bollocks, because I follow a significant number of content creators on Twitter, and a lot of them are constantly bitching about the fact that everyone has got access to Overwatch but them. Which, funnily enough, sounds exactly like what the people on the Overwatch subreddit are saying. And yet these are content creators with significant followers.
Let me just break it down. There are people with much bigger YouTube channels, much bigger streams than me. Why do I and Mr. Kirioth have access to the beta? It is because this is the way it works. You do not tweet Blizzard and go, give me access, Blizz, please. I've made this video and I've got 1,000 views or whatever. No, it doesn't work like that. In the case of the guy in this clip, in the Reddit post, he's most likely been randomly flagged, right? If he's even in it at all, because he doesn't provide proof that he's in it. He's probably not even in it. He's probably just a Reddit cabbage. But there you go. The way it works is this. You say to Blizzard, because Blizzard view this as a actual beta where you provide feedback, yeah? You speak to the relevant Blizzard PR departments, right? You build up trust. You speak to them over a period of time. You do not just email them randomly or send them a tweet and go, please access, because they'll be like, no, we don't know who you are. So after you've built up, what is it, a rapport, Mr. Kirioth,
a rapport,
with them,
yeah.
right? You show that you're a professional organization or whatever you do. They then give you access, but on a couple of conditions. It's not just for you to go and become... I mean, there was a post of the, I want to start my YouTube career, but I need Overwatch access. Fucking hell. This is unfair. Blah, blah, blah. Or I want to be a streamer. I don't have Overwatch access. Okay. Blizzard are not giving you access to the game, so you can run away and make loads of videos and make loads of views. No, they want feedback. At that point was stressed to me, and I said, yeah, and I have been providing feedback directly to them about the game, about what I feel needs to be changed, and whatever. Even if it's ludicrous feedback, it's still feedback that they want. They don't want people just playing the game and doing nothing with it. That's why a certain number of people have been invited, right? Then you've got people who have been invited because of their viewer base. So there are a lot of people on Twitch, okay, that were invited because they've got big streams, because obviously Blizzard want to get eyes on the product as well. So it's broken down into a couple of categories. You've got the promotional category. Blizzard knew they had a solid product. They knew that people would play the game like I did and be like, wow, this is really good. I didn't expect this. And it's getting a lot of traffic that way, yeah? Hyping the game up, and rightfully so, because it's a good game. They also want people to provide feedback, which is me. Then you've got another category of people who apparently have got bigger YouTube channels and they want to do stuff, but they're not quite the super mega YouTube channels, but they're like, you know, probably 500,000 plus subs or whatever, and it's unfair that they don't have access. But do they even speak to Blizzard, or are they just sitting there on Twitter going, oh, give me access, Blizzard? Blizzard ain't going to give you access, because that's not how they work. You know, it's complete bullshit. That post is bullshit because no evidence is provided, and also that is not how you get access. And even if he does have access, it's because he's been randomly flagged, and that's basically the end of the story. It's just bullshit.
As you say, it's really easy. It's even more easily broken down as well. There's two methods of getting into... I don't know why I'm doing that. There's fucking two methods of getting into the beta. One is PR man from Blizzard or PR department from Blizzard give you access to the beta. That is achieved either by being fucking massive and guaranteeing to make content, or by talking to them like we did. That's how that's achieved. The only other method is to get randomly flagged, and it's exactly that, random. And this whole thing of, oh, it's only content creators, as I say, I've seen so many people, like even people who aren't necessarily content creators. Like I follow I used to watch League of Legends, the World Series, whatever it's called. I've completely forgotten. My mind's gone blank.
Yeah, it's just the Worlds,
yeah,
ain't it? LOL,
Worlds. I used to
Worlds or
watch
whatever.
that all the time, and I ended up following a lot of the casters. To my knowledge, all like 6 of the casters I follow, none of them have got access to Overwatch, even though they're quite big personalities in the esports scene. So just being a big name is not going to get you access. That's not how it works. On the other hand, there are multiple people on my Battle.net account who are friends via Battle.net that, you know, I've picked up over the years of doing Unit Loss, that I've played games with in the past, who are, and I don't mean this in like a harsh way, I'm talking purely in marketing terms. If what you're saying is correct and it's only content creators getting in, blah, 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 in marketing terms, Blizzard letting some of the people on my friends list into the game is fucking stupid because they are nobody. They don't have a YouTube channel. They don't have a Twitch channel. Some of them don't even have Twitter or Facebook. They are literally no one. They just play games. There's one guy on there who I've exchanged about 4 words with in the last 2 years because all he does is play games and he hasn't got time for conversation. And I even saw him playing it and I messaged him and I was like, what do you think of the game? And he said, fuck off, playing Overwatch. And that's it. He is not going to be spreading the word about the fucking game because he doesn't talk to anybody, even his friends. But he's got them. So it's like this whole thing, this whole massive landslide of salt, where
God.
it's like, oh, it's not random. Yes, it is. It is random. There are countless examples, just from me alone, just looking at my Twitter and my friends list of random happenings of people getting in or not getting into the beta. There are countless anecdotes of people on the subreddit who are like, oh, my roommate got access and he's not even interested in the game. He opted in and I don't know why he did it and he won't let me play the game. Well,
And then what about the guys who I've bought every Blizzard
random.
product ever? I've got Blizzard tattooed on my arse. I am Blizzard super fan #1. Where's my access? I hate you, Blizzard.
It's not hard to understand.
Jesus
you either
Christ.
get it via PR.
I've never
or
seen
you get
anything
it
like
via
this though
random.
for a
I
beta.
know, it's
I've never
crazy.
seen anything like this. Crazy.
I mean, the Overwatch subreddit, when it started out, I kind of looked at it occasionally, but there wasn't a huge amount of information, so it's, you know, it's pretty dead.
Yeah.
There was kind of like artwork and, oh, I'm looking forward to this. I've seen so many people sitting there going, oh, I've spent the last 8 hours F5 in my Battle.net account, and I'm like, why? Do something else. Like, I don't understand. I know Blizzard are good at hyping their product, and now that they're streamers and well, people like us making content on the game and streaming the game and talking about the game, I get that you're going to be excited to play it. But I've never seen such a huge reaction to a closed beta, not getting into a closed beta. And this is the other thing. It's a closed beta. It's not an open beta. It's not. That's the whole point. If you cannot just log in and play the game without being flagged, that means that's not what it's for. So, what's the problem? It's not difficult. It's not hard. And it wouldn't be that bad. But this is not the first time Blizzard have done this. I mean, look at Heroes of the Storm not that long ago. The first beta they had was random invites and fucking streamers and YouTube personalities because it's for marketing and for testing. But I didn't see people go apeshit over that. And I don't understand where the distinction is. Like, why is Overwatch suddenly the holy grail of gaming? I've seen people say, I actually read this, and this made me laugh. And it probably shouldn't have done because it was, in a way, kind of sad. I'm not in the beta, but I keep reading the feedback forums, and it makes me angry that I can't reply to them because they're making suggestions to ruin the perfect game. What are you talking about? You haven't fucking played it. I've played it. It's not. I'll tell you right now, it's not fucking perfect. What are you on about? What? It's crazy. I've never seen such a crazy reaction, and it wouldn't be that bad. But it's like the subreddit itself. I don't know what it's like on the actual official forums. I need to check actually. Any feedback's done directly, so it's like I don't really look at that, bad though it sounds. But the subreddit especially, it's just there'll be like a post like, I got in, everyone check your accounts. And then it'll be just waves of, I didn't get in, this is the worst thing ever. I don't understand where it's come from at all. Like, I get that it's a hyped game, that it looks good, and it is fun to play.
It's just entitlement, ain't it? People just think I should have access to it, so fuck you.
It's absolutely crazy.
It's mental.
That kind of turned into an anti-Reddit rant, but there you go. Just calm down, lads. Calm down. Go outside. Do something else. There's loads of other games. Look at all the games you can play.
While I'll be playing Overwatch. Oh,
well, I mean, me too, but that's not the point. Rub it in at the end. Bit of salt in the wound. Oh, anyway.
With a dash of vinegar.
Oh, bit of salt and vinegar. We're gonna go on now to.
Thank you.
This is terrible.
Where are we going? Oh no! Please, where are we going, Flo? It's terrible and it's the worst.
There's a couple of things that are terrible and the worst, but this is quite bad. Warner Brothers, bloke. Warner Brothers.
Oh, Jesus wept.
They're offering refunds to all Batman Arkham Knight owners, you'll be shocked to hear this. So,
But don't they
This is-
say
yeah,
that it
yeah,
is unfixable?
I'm just gonna read it out now. So this is the
Christ.
statement they gave. This is the statement they gave.
Oh.
We are very sorry that many of our customers continue to be unhappy with the PC version of Batman Arkham Knight. A note on the game's Steam page reads, "We worked hard to get the game to live up to the standard you deserve, but understand that many of you are still experiencing issues. Until the end of 2015, we will be offering a full refund on Batman Arkham Knight PC, regardless of how long you have played the product. You can also return the Season Pass along with the main game, but not separately. For those of you that hold on to the game, we are going to continue to address the issues that we can fix and talk to you about the issues that we cannot fix." So, what they've said, basically, is they have spent months attempting to repair this game. Right? They took it down because the refunds were killing them. They took it down, they were like, you can't buy it anymore. You cannot buy Arkham Knight. It is broken. We will fix it and we will re-release it in the state it should be in. They re-released it. It needs 12 gig of RAM minimum for some people because of horrendous stuffer issues.
You know what? There's a really funny comment I've seen on the YouTube channel today. Like a guy commented on the bloody... Keep going, bloke. I'll find it. It made me laugh. I was like, what the shit?
And they also said...
Yeah, here you go. I found it.
Go.
I keep going, then I find it. So this guy, he's taking the piss, but it's funny. He says, I have a 16-core, 7.8 gigahertz, 128 gig of RAM, triple GTX Titan, and the game runs just fine on medium. I don't get where you see the problem. I was like, what? Oh, Jesus.
So
yes,
yeah, it's not only still broken, but they've outright said that there are technical issues with the game that they simply cannot fix. Which, that's mind-blowing to me. I don't think I've ever heard a publisher or a developer as big as Warner Brothers and I've forgotten the name of the bloody studio now. It's Rocksteady, isn't it? No, not Rocksteady. Whatever they're called, the ones who make Batman. Why have I forgotten that? I've never heard someone just outright say, "Sorry guys, we cannot fix this. It is broken beyond repair. We coded this game from the ground up. We built it. We cannot repair it. It is beyond fixing. So we're just going to offer you refunds until the end of 2015, so you can get rid of the game. No matter, and it's no matter how long you've played it as well. So how do you break your own product that badly? Like I'm staggered. I don't understand how it's possible to wreck something so severely that you have to say to your customers, "Sorry guys, it's beyond fixing. Just can't do anything with it. It's gone now. It's gone. We can't do nothing. We'll give you a refund though." Absolutely crazy.
I know Green Man Gaming are giving refunds out as well because a lot of people bought it off there because it was dirt cheap, like.
Yeah.
And they're saying we'll give you a refund, but this is ridiculous. I mean, the fact that to say that it's unfixable just cannot be true because it works on consoles. So I don't know what the hell they've done to this game to demolish it to a point of where it's just unplayable on PC, which is shit. Because I still kind of want to play this game, but this was an unforeseen disaster. I didn't think this would be as bad as it was because the previous two games from Rocksteady were shit hot.
Yeah, it is Rocksteady. Isn't it? For some reason, I always think that it starts with Rock and ends with something else. You know what? This is completely off topic, but I read the other day Evolve is getting more DLC or some sort of ultimate pack, and I genuinely sat there for a good minute and went, "What the hell is Evolve? Oh shit! Yeah, the monster game." It's such an irrelevance, Evolve, at this point, that I literally forgot what it was, and I had to remind myself that it was like an arena monster hunting, 4-man versus 1 guy game, because it just vanished from my mind, and I don't know why I got reminded of that, but I just did. So yeah, if you've got Batman and you bought it on Steam or Green Man Gaming, knock yourself out. Go and get a refund because it will never be fixed. They cannot fix it. They have broken it so severely that it is literally impossible for them to repair it. So congratulations to Warner Brothers. That is quite the precedent to set. Someone saying that they have literally destroyed their own game. Congratulations. Your medal will be in the post. Also, try not to lose too much money from it, you stupid idiots. More rancidity, except it's not really. South by Southwest, we talked about this last week. They cancelled 2 panels due
Yes.
to threats of violence.
Which actually which produced some interesting comments because I don't really talk about Gamergate, and people were like, I was getting some really weird, like I think I was getting exposed to people who actually are well into this, and they're so polarized, it's ridiculous, and people are making comments towards me, and I'm like, wow, I don't.
can't remember what you said.
This is why I don't
that.
get into this.
I can't remember what you said that would even be that.
I don't think it was much, to be honest. I think it was
controversial.
When you pass the odd comment, it just suddenly sets people off, and yeah, that's frightening.
I just thought I'd have been more on the receiving end of that, because didn't I make some comment about watching monkeys fling shit at each other or something?
I don't think I never seen that reference, but it's just like
maybe
I
just thought it. Well, there you go. If you missed it last week and I didn't say it, well, I've just said it now. But yeah, what they've done is because they cancelled panels due to threats of violence.
Threats, yeah.
People obviously were not happy about this because they're like, you're cancelling panels.
Oh no,
harassment due to
I
people
banned a couple of people off the chat because they were making like completely ridiculous comments about. So Stylosa and Kirioth think it's fine if, you know, racist comment, really bad racist comment, get a gun, then racist comment again, and I'm like, what? These were people that I'd seen comment on our videos for a while, and they seemed normal, and then suddenly it was like, whoa. So many bans were handed out, but
that we'd managed to come across as
because the only time we ever remove people from the comments is when they're racist or, you know, they're being extremely toxic. If you just want to talk shit, I don't care. But yeah, that was I'd never seen that on the channel before, and I was like, I tweeted about it. I was like, I've just read something, and I had to do a double take. Holy shit! What the hell? Like I read it, and I'm like, that's not real.
You're really not endearing us to the cause of Gamergate on either side doing that.
No,
by the way. If you want to, it's like the perfect example of why I never got involved. And why I have no intention of getting involved. If your method of dealing with people who you see as having an opinion different to yourself is to go instantly to the most extreme end and come up with the most insane examples using the most offensive language, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just not going to bother. Like, why would I? If you like? Well, actually, if you consider this and put forth a reasoned argument that doesn't involve like racial or homophobic language and talking about killing people and so on and so forth, then perhaps I'd read it and go, okay, that's something to think about. To be honest, if you come at us with, you know, all guns blazing, extremism, oh, you guys are so whatever, I'll read like the first half and then go, this guy's a fucking nut job, and then you get banned because you've just been homophobic and racist all over the channel, and we don't stand for it. Don't do that. There's no point. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anyone's mind. It's not going to help with anything. And that's probably why Gamergate as a whole is not really something that's in the forefront of most people's minds anymore, because I don't see the reasoned arguments. When I see it crop up, I only see the nutters. And if your nutters are the ones who are at the forefront of your argument, thank you, dog, and they're the ones who are making themselves known publicly, that's not how you get a reasoned following. That's just how you attract more nutters. And I might be mental, but I'm not that mental. So, But yeah, anyway, back onto this, kind of, but then we're going to leave it just in case, because just don't bother. They cancelled the panels because of threats of violence. People didn't like that, understandably. I think even we said, we're like, that's not really, why would you do that? Shouldn't cancel it. So what they've done is instead they're going to have a whole day of panels addressing exactly the same thing with the same people who were going to be doing them before, and yet more people along with them. So win-win. Yeah, win-win. It not only didn't get cancelled, it's now got more attention. There's now more talk about it. They're going to have a longer event to encapsulate all of it, and they're going to have more speakers. So there you go. I mean, I was not impressed with the fact they cancelled it. I'm impressed with the fact that they have actually gone back on what they said and not only reinstated the panels, but actually gone bigger and better than they were before, because that shows a good amount of determination to actually overcome the threats that they were
said things. Yeah, we said, like, you know, you've got to understand threats made to you on the internet are just fucking stupid. We get threats all the time, and God knows what's sent to us. I think maybe that they did just realise that and thought this is just crap.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yep. Oh yes, there was something else around it. I apologise. Yes, I remember now. Oh yes. It turns out that Call of Duty Black Ops 3's Nuketown map is a game exclusive, because we all love exclusive content, don't we, bloke? So from what little
Hang
I
on.
know of Call of
It's a
Duty,
Nuketown, a map
Nuketown
that's
is one
been
of the
out
most
for fucking years.
It's one of the
like
most
every
popular
Call of Duty,
maps.
God.
People I know for a fact people love themselves a bit of Nuketown. However, you'd be forgiven for thinking that if you pre-ordered Call of Duty Black Ops 3, you get the eye-catching Nuketown multiplayer map. But that's not necessarily the case. Much of Activision's advertising for Nuketown suggests all pre-orders guarantee the map. Just look at the company's official support website. And in fact, it has a little screenshot here, which is quite nice, and it says, pre-order Call of Duty Black Ops 3 on PlayStation 4, Xbox One or PC to experience the classic run-and-gun multiplayer map. Specifically referencing Nuketown, because it says at the top, Nuketown is back. Although they've spelt it with a 3 instead of an E, because apparently they are also stuck in 1999. However, that is not true. That isn't true. This says all players who pre-order get access to the map, but as UK VG
do you remember when Call
out,
of Duty was good? Do you remember those days? Those heady days of our youth.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. You remember UAV Online?
Yes.
Oh my god.
What was the name of that map with the containers? That was dead funny. It was a clusterfuck, but it was quite funny.
You mean on the ship?
No. It was in the first Modern Warfare. But it was
there was one on the ship.
It was like a little container yard, and it just had loads of those shipping containers dotted round. And it
just ran through them blasting.
Yeah, it was a really shit map,
know.
but it was quite funny. But yeah, it turns out that actually you don't get Nuketown if you pre-order in the UK. You only get it if you pre-order from Game. So if you pre-order from Amazon, for instance, who, by the way, I saw shipping midnight. So if you've ordered Black Ops 3, it'll arrive like at midnight, which is crazy. Yeah, but you only get it if you've pre-ordered through Game. Unfortunately, Game is $49.99 for Black Ops 3. Amazon, £42. So you've got a choice. You either save some money, or you don't get an iconic map that everyone loves because
Bloke, I think you're off your tits. I think it was a ship, you mad bastard. Yeah, wet work. It's a container ship. Medium, large cargo ship, fast-paced search and destroy matches. Because I remember the other one we used to play was... Block, which was that like Russian...
No, Shipment. That's what I'm thinking.
Shipment?
Yeah. Yeah, the map is small in size and is filled with
containers. Tiny Russian shipyard. Yes.
That's what I was thinking of.
The other one, though, we used to play was Block. I remember that one.
That was quality.
Where I had the big statue. That was really good, that one. Yeah. And also the one with the helicopter, which is probably Crash. Yeah, where there's like the Black Hawk Down. It was based on Black Hawk Down. And it was like in a Middle Eastern... That was a good map, yeah.
I miss Modern Warfare.
I think Crossfire. Yeah, Crossfire was good as well.
Modern Warfare was quality. I want to play... No, I don't. I want to play Overwatch again. I'll say again. Because I've stopped not. I tell you what, let's leave Nuketown. It can...
Fucking
by
Nuketown.
Itself. Fucking Nuketown. Christ. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I was going to move on to... onto the Payday 2 thing, but we need to mention something first because people pulled us up on this last week. And this is my fault. I did have this actually noted down to talk about, and then I just failed to open the link, so we missed it.
Just failed.
Occasionally, it happens occasionally. You should see the notepad file that stores some of the links for hotfix. Sometimes it gets to be mental. So this is the fact that Total War Warhammer has a release date set.
Oh, I was
and
called out on
DLC.
People were so angry about this while I'm streaming. The people that turned up in the stream going, "Oi, what's your opinion on this? You never spoke about it on hotfix." And I'm like, "Oh, so I gave them my opinion." But yeah, carry on.
Yeah,
we should have covered it, but we forgot.
The game will feature 4 playable core races: Orcs, Dwarfs, Empire, and Undead. But a 5th, the Chaos Warriors.
Why is Chaos? Why are Chaos? Fucking why?
Will be available in Total War Warhammer's first race pack DLC release. But if you pre-order the game, the race pack will be included for free on day 1, giving you access to 3 new playable legendary lords with their own quest lines.
Chaos are integral to the game. That's the problem. If it was like Skaven or somebody, it still would be bullshit. But it's not Chaos, is it? It's not like going, Franz fucking what's-her-face's crew, they're not available in the Empire.
Yeah. It's not Ferdinand, it's...
no, that's sort of Scottish band, isn't it? Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah.
From years ago.
You want
what
the
are
opinion?
Songs?
You want the opinion? Easy. It's bullshit. It's obviously bullshit. Chaos are a massive part of the universe. They're a massive part of the lore. They're a massive part of the game itself. And
be locked Franz Ferdinand, of course, bloke, is the guy who started World War I after he got assassinated.
Yeah,
naturally.
That's also true.
I think he got killed with a grenade. Anyway.
But yeah, it's obviously bullshit. It's not on. It's a really shitty way to do it, and I don't agree with it.
Also, let me just clear. He is not the guy who started World War One before people started slamming me in the comments.
Started World War One.
The start of World War One was extremely complicated, and it was a result of loads of overlapping alliances and treaties that were in place in Europe at the time, and it all got triggered from because I'm on Tumblr. It all got triggered by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. So just to clear that up. Carry on. He was not the guy who started World War One. He did not like run out and start the war. He
ran out.
He started a series of events.
Oi, dickhead!
Oi, wankers! Oi, wanker!
What a start to a war that would be.
Anyway, you were saying before I went all crazy about Franz Ferdinand.
I don't know whether people expected a massive discussion about this, but I think it's bullshit. I think if you're going to lock a race behind a DLC pack, don't make it one that's integral to the game, integral to the lore, and integral to Warhammer as a whole. Do it with something that is not directly, emphasized in the trailers for a start. I mean, one of the first trailers, the goddamn human priest guy, mage guy, gets all infected by Tzinch. So obviously, Chaos plays a massive part in it. It's obviously bullshit. I don't know what else to tell you. That's all I've got. So yeah, no, don't like it. On to Payday 2 now. So we've covered that. You can stop sending angry messages now. I apologise if it was less in-depth, but at least we agree that it's nonsense. A recently created mod, Payday 2, allows players to acquire paid weapon skins from microtransactions for free. So there's a little bit of an overview here. I've actually put it on the screen because it's not a massive wall of text like the Overwatch one. In case you guys are out of the loop, Overkill recently added a crate system to Payday 2, similar to that of CSGO and TF2. You unlock safes by purchasing drills with real money, and you get a weapon skin with the possibility of it having stat boosts. But that entire system is almost useless thanks to a mod in Payday 2. It effectively adds all, and that was actually in the text, I didn't add it myself, all the weapon skins to your profile that you would normally need to pay money to unlock. Other players are able to see the weapon skins you unlocked via this method, so this is not a reskin mod to fake that you have all the skins. It is a flat-out bypass for the entire microtransaction system. You do not get flagged as a cheater, and Overkill is unable to ban you from Payday 2. So, however, these skins do not appear in your Steam inventory, so you won't be able to sell them for real money, which obviously makes sense. So this is... I don't really know how to approach this, because on the one hand, it's a very inventive and ingenious way around a system that was implemented really badly. On the other hand, is it really on? If we're honest, like if we're being, because the thing is, it's kind of difficult. It's not fair that Overkill approached this the way they did, right? They did it in a really shit way. That my camera's going mental for some reason. It keeps spamming out and putting pink into the color for some reason. Ignore that. You can't see it. You've got a different camera. So the way they approached it was terrible. They made people work towards a reward, and the reward was give us more money. That's a really shit way to introduce microtransactions, especially when they insisted that they would not put microtransactions into the game. And people have said, oh, well, the guy who said that has left the company, except 2 people said it, and one of them is still there. So that still doesn't apply. On the other hand, having some sort of like mod that just bypasses all microtransactions for the game.
Well, don't they say that the coding is absolutely abysmal? Some people were saying on Reddit for this game, like the AI is terrible and everything. But like, it's just a case of removing like 3 lines of text out of some file, and then suddenly you can just get access to the stuff. It's like that is pretty bad. It is funny, but this is what happens when you piss off a community, though. Like they do things like this, and they take you down. And I mean, there was a comment on the hotfix last week where somebody said, "Actually, guys, there's quite a few people playing Overwatch at the moment. What you listen to, boy?"
Someone's banging about on the outside of the house.
Gunfire.
No, it's not Franz Ferdinand. But yeah, no.
Back from the grave with a grenade in his hand, ready to start World War III by blowing you up.
That could be the line. That could be the line of a start of a heavy metal song. Back from the dead with a grenade in his hand, ready to start World War III. I've Sabaton one
unavailable for vocals.
But you'll sing half a second behind the music.
What is that about? I listen back to the pod and I'm like, this is a really weird thing. Basically, when I stream, right, and I've got music playing, for some reason there is like a half a second delay. When the stream hears the music, then I sing. But when it's actually real time for me, and I don't know what the hell that's about, so I'm singing. along in tune, but then on the VOD, it's like, yeah, it's weird. Anyway.
But yeah.
What was the point of this, Mr. Kirioth? What were you telling me about?
Well, I can't remember now. I've lost it completely. What was it?
Oh yeah, the Overwatch thing. Not Overwatch.
Overkill.
Overkill.
Yeah,
it's overkill.
On the one hand, the way they approach it is terrible. Don't piss off your community. They will find ways around it. On the other hand, just because someone's done something shitty to you, should you really go and try and just bypass it completely? I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one because I'm kind of on the side of the community with this. It's very hard not to be because of the way they approached it. But it still doesn't seem like a brilliant solution. It might seem like a brilliant solution to people who don't want to pay for the microtransactions. But at the same time, I don't know if it's going to help anything necessarily. I don't think it's going to do anything to heal the rift. I think it's just a getting back at overkill kind of situation. And yeah, and as you say, people said Payday 2 is now gone up in popularity. I think that's probably a temporary thing where people are like, let's see what all this
generally is, isn't it? As soon as like the news hits, it's like, yeah, we have a little little thing.
So I'll tell you what, we've got I don't know whether to let's cover this quickly. Let's I wasn't sure about this, but let's just have a quick chat about it. So there's a VR game that is set in the World Trade Center on 9/11. Now, I'll link you to the article in the description, so you can go through it. We won't read all the way through it because it's quite long, and there's a little video of it as well. And I'm just curious as like a talking point. Do you think that's appropriate or something that should be done, or is that kind of is it a bit too morbid or disrespectful? Do you think that kind of thing? Because I'm really not sure about it, to be honest.
I don't know. It kind of is, and it's done for shock value, but also haven't we moved on?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. It seems I read it and I looked at the footage and I was like, on the one hand, I can kind of see why someone might do it as kind of like I get whether it's in good taste or not, an artistic endeavor where it's like, oh, this is kind of almost a representation of obviously a very muted, dulled down, in no way, really representative representation. Because unless you're actually there, how the hell you're not going to be able to get any?
Yes, but on the other, why couldn't they have just done it of a random building or something? It's like, no, that it's done for that, to get the impact, to get the eyes on what they've done. I mean, like for me, I just think it's like, well, I would never try that. I just didn't give a shit. It's like, well, great, VR, great. There's much better things that are out for VR than that.
Well, this is the other thing as well. I mean,
but then again, would we be the same if it was like the London bombings? Would you want to run around the fucking tube train while it was getting blown up? Probably not.
I personally, I just don't see the attraction in going anywhere near it because it does just feel quite disrespectful in a way. But then again, I say that, and they've said it's a tribute to it, which I don't really understand how you can do a tribute to something like that. Well, to the victims, which again, kind of giving you the first-hand experience of what it sort of was like, except not really because you're just wearing a headset and that's it.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure how that works. On the one hand, I was like, this is totally shitty. Like, this is a really shit thing to do. On the other hand, how many games have we had where it's been based on real events, like war games for a start? I mean, do you remember? Was it Medal of Honor, or was it Call of Duty where you stormed the beaches on D-Day? And then you've got things like
that. I think that's Medal of Honor, Allied Assault. That is, I think, isn't it? Medal of Honor something. I know. Call of Duty did the Stalingrad, Call of Duty 2, I think it was.
Yeah.
The Stalingrad river crossing, which I think it was Call of Duty 2 or 1. That was really good. I remember that being amazing. It's like, holy shit.
But that's the thing.
You're right.
Like,
you're totally
these
right.
These things already exist. So it's like, I think it's in a way. I think I kind of fell into the same trap that I did with Hatred, where I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is not.
You don't get Auschwitz simulator, do you? Could you maybe say that this? Okay, that's obviously massively extreme, but could you maybe say that, like, oh yeah, VR in the World Trade Center? It's like, why do you even need that? Really, you've just done that for effect. You don't see war films, especially, or you do see war films based on it. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is a film, which is Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that.
That's actually
No.
a really good film. That is, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but that's a film about a concentration camp, and the son of the German officer who, one of the German officers in charge of the concentration camp, makes friends with a Jewish kid through the fence, and of course because they're kids, they don't realize what's going on,
Yeah.
and they're just like mates, and they actually go outside of the tent, outside of the fence, and play with each other and whatever, and then obviously through this is a spoiler if you've not seen it, but through like a series of events, and then the shocking realization at the end that the German officer's son had just gone into the gas chamber with the fucking kid, and they all got gassed and killed at the end. And he's like,
Ooh.
because the kid thought he was like, come and play with me, you know. And as he goes into the camp, the German officers just happen to be sending them all to the,
Yeah.
and they don't realize because it's just a kid, and off he goes into the thing. And it's a good film. That is, I think it's a British film actually. But yeah, what I'm saying is you don't see war games based on going around Auschwitz, do you, and things like that.
Yeah.
It's always about the combat and whatnot. So I don't know. Maybe that's an extreme example off me. I'm not sure, but
I think part of it as well is that
done for impact. That
like for some reason VR it makes me kind of more unaccepting of it, and I think it's because when you this is going to sound really weird. The whole point of VR is to create a more immersive experience. It's supposed to be more lifelike, more realistic. You know, you'll be able to move your head and look around and so on and so forth. And that's the point. You know, it's virtual. It's virtual reality. Playing a game just on a screen is not the same. So, like, if I'm running around playing Overwatch, I don't feel like I'm actually in the middle of a futuristic war being punched in the face by a giant gorilla. That's not how it works. It's still immersive, but it's not like this is
but
all
the
I
giant
can see.
gorilla's overly sexualized, and I can't handle it. I can't
Save
play
it
with
for
this.
the video that you made. So that's I can still see around me. You know, there's the wall there. There's a light there. There's two other monitors there. There's probably like TV on one and music on the other. It's not a completely all surrounding experience where all I have in front of me is that game. With VR, that's the whole point of it. And I feel like you're never going to get, whether you should make it or not. And actually, I say that. I said the same thing about hatred in the end, which is like people should be allowed to make whatever the hell they like. That I don't think we should go around censoring what people can make. But it's a case of whether it's going to be effective, like an effective thing, or whether it's going to be something that isn't really appropriate. For me personally, something like 9/11 or something like Auschwitz or some sort of terrorist attack like the London bombings, I don't see why, firstly, why it could be seen as properly representative or properly impactful to make a game out of that, because it's never going to look real and it's never going to sound that real. And to try and make it more so by implementing it into VR, I don't think it's a tribute at the end of the day. I don't think it's actually something that
I've
really...
not got an issue with it. I've not got an issue with it. Like, I mean, you want to make a game on that, that's fine. But I just, being cynical, but I completely believe that the only reason it is the World Trade Center is so people get their eyes on the thing, and they get to, people were like, oh look, World Trade Center, let's check this out, or oh, it's starting. Well, you know, we're talking about it. For example, if it was just some random building somewhere that you could walk around that was blowing up, people would be like, oh, whatever. That's the only reason why. I'm not saying that it's bad that they've done it. I'm like indifferent. I don't really care, like you say, and I agree. You should be able to make whatever you like within certain reason. When we start getting to really extreme stuff outside of the law, which case then you go to prison.
Yeah. I tell you what, let's go. The last thing we have, which is thankfully a bit lighter than that, but I just found that interesting when I read it. I was like, this is... It was almost like a hatred thing, but not quite as reactionary, I guess, which is good. But yeah. Oh, God. The dog's trying to steal my Monster Ripper can. The fuck?
I know, I've been drinking that. I haven't drunk that for ages, but it's horrible.
It's too
horrible.
Sweet now.
I'm like, what am I doing?
The Steam... Well, Steam has now rolled out item stores, and it is debuted in Rust.
Yes.
So this is... you head over to the Rust store page on Steam, you'll notice a new option offering items available for this game, including clothing and firearms that can be purchased for real money. It's the first, and as far as PC Gamer knows, and we know by extension, implementation of item stores, a function introduced in the latest update to Steam that enables developers and community creators to sell in-game items directly to players. The Rust item store exists and will continue to exist alongside the community market, and pricing will often be different. So the Red Shine pistol on the Rust item store, for instance, goes for $3, but it costs just under $5 on the community market. The Forest Camo t-shirt, however, costs the same $3 on the item store, but can be had on the market for 5 cents. Sounds a bit sketchy, but there are product descriptions on the item store, and it says what the stuff is worth on the other store. This is kind of... I'm not surprised it's there, but I'm surprised it's Rust that's getting it first.
But
I'm
kind of not, because Valve, Steam, and whatnot, I've had like they do like Gary Newman.
Yeah.
What is it? Face Punch Studios, or whatever the hell the thing is.
Here in my car.
You know, he he was the Gary's mod was like one of the first things. Like, he didn't actually think he could make money off that, and I remember that reading an article about it, and Gabe was like, "No, just sell it," and they put the price for it, and then that was a massive success. It was kind of like Valve have always tried to like innovate in terms of making money off their customers through Steam, haven't they? Like, you've got the whole like user-generated content and stuff where you've got people making a living through designing Dota 2 armor sets and God knows what, and selling them. Same for Counter-Strike Global Offensive weapon skins and stuff. So in a way, I'm not kind of surprised that it is Rust, which has been used as a test bed, because I think they've got a close relationship with Valve, and they're almost like a little satellite test facility for them.
Yeah.
Sounding a bit Portal.
People kind of said that it's a bit like paid mods, but in a way it's not really, because these are just skins. They're just cosmetic, and you can get them in, actually Gary Newman points out himself that the products are strictly cosmetic, and they're also given to play through random timed drops in the game, so nobody will be excluded. So it's just cosmetic stuff, and you can get it in the game.
It's nothing like the paid mods. The thing with the paid mods, the big outcry with that is they were free, but now suddenly you have to pay for them.
Yeah,
that's not right.
Whereas this time it's like they've been free, but they're always going to be free. But you can pay for them if you really want them, but you don't have to.
I wonder what's going to happen with Fallout 4. I wonder if they'll try paid mods with that.
I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised if they did. After the Skyrim thing, I don't know whether they'll bother trying to do paid mods anymore. Because if they can just do cosmetic stuff through this item store, so like, oh, get this customized Vault suit, or make your armor look better, or this Outlander's waist jacket.
Would you remember when it was all ludicrous in Oblivion, where you could buy horse armor, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
and it's funny now. It's just like accepted. It's like, yeah. I mean,
all
you could
those
buy
years ago,
horse armor in Metal
was a
Gear Solid
massive
5.
Yeah.
I remember that, because you could buy it through Xbox Live as well, couldn't you? And it was like a tenner or whatever it was for like a bit of horse armor. It's like, what the shit?
There's a massive fuss kicked up about that, and now you can just get cosmetic stuff for everything all the time, and it's not just in games that you've bought once. You can get cosmetic items in like MMOs that you're paying a monthly fee for. It's crazy how much that's changed. But yeah, I mean, this item store, I don't really have a problem with it. Now that you've said about Rust, it does actually make sense that it would debut in Rust, but I don't think it's anything like paid mods. And if it's just cosmetic, it's just going to be the same as everything else. I mean, let's face it, League of Legends has been selling skins. Blizzard sells skins. Everyone sells skins at some point. And
well, I totally agree with that method of free to play monetization anyway. And like, going back to Overwatch again, I hope that is how that is done. And there are some arguments with, do you buy into the game? Because if it's free to play, it would be easy to make multiple accounts and like be a dickhead in the game, hack the game, or do whatever. I think that Blizzard are probably going to sell the game for a fee. I don't think it will be full price release. I think it'll be something like $20, $25 maybe, and then they will sell. We already know they're going to sell sprays, so that's customization, and then there'll be there'll be crossover stuff, won't there? There'll be like dress like Widowmaker up as the undead leader. What's her name? Sylvanas. Whatever her name is. They'll be like, because they look the same. Well, there'll be a skin for her.
Well, hang on. She uses a bow, so it'll be dressed hands up as.
No, because that'll.
but still keep his base model the same, but give him the really tight clothing.
or make Roadhog look like an ogre, or Reaper look like the Lich King, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, they'll probably be seen. It's Blizzard. They do that stuff. We did it with Heroes of the Storm. Although I guess that game's off anyway.
And since StarCraft 2 is sort of actually in Overwatch anyway, apparently, because there's a StarCraft 2 fictional pro player in the Overwatch universe as a hero. I still can't. It makes my brain hurt. Anyway, that is all we have for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I always say that, and it always ends up being like an hour and 40 minutes. So, and all we have is actually really long and lots of detail. So all we have is quality content. I apologise for that. As always, if you want to support via Patreon, then you do it up there. You do it down there. The thingy, little linky. If you do so, we'll give you a shout out at the start of the next Patreon, the next hotfix. My brain's leaving me. This is bad because we got to record podcast later, and I'm starting to lose my shit. Oh. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Toodaloo.